Alright, so we got some Chapter 222 spoilers in the form of like a few panels, which is, you know, better than nothing. It's cool. So let's get into this and see what we're going to be getting into tomorrow. So we got like a fun cover page this week, and it features Mothra from Godzilla. Not exactly Mothra, but, you know, like something like it, like a gigantic moth monster with Izuku's head on it. I don't know why this is. Maybe it's some kind of thing that's going on in Japan right now. But also in this cover page, we see like Bakugo, Uraraka, Ida, and Todoroki, like, I guess looking at him. Todoroki is asleep for some reason. Ida seems to be proud as hell of Mothra Izuku for some reason. Uraraka is excited, and Bakugo is kind of baffled. He's like angry, confused, and he's like crushing the soft drink that he has in his hand for some reason. I don't know what's going on with this one. I'm sure even if we get the text translated, it's still not going to make a lot of sense to our Western sensibilities, I guess. It's just for fun, but yeah, it's just something. Alright, so now let's get into these panels, because we're only getting a few of them, but all of them are basically pointing to a possible conversation between Yujiko, the new doctor that we discovered in Chapter 221, talking to Tomura about his past, and just the past of the League of Villains in general. Because a bulk of the panels we see are going back to that like iconic flashback scene that we usually see of All For One and Tomura. Like, it's assumed like this is when they are first meeting. So there's not a lot of context behind what's going on in that flashback. We kind of just see Tomura as a little kid, and then we see All For One coming up to him and essentially like rescuing him from something. So other than that, we don't really know what's going on. We know that there's like some kind of tragedy happen. Like there's like, I think we saw like a body part or something like that. Maybe it was a hand, like one of the hands that he has, but like before it was fixed up and made into like a cool little aesthetic for him. So we always kind of assumed that Tomura killed his parents inadvertently, or killed like his whole family inadvertently or something, because, you know, he can't control his decay quirk. Or, I don't know, something else happened and All Might, it couldn't save him or something. Or I don't, you know, there's not a lot of context, like I said, so we can only really guess what was happening. Most likely it has something to do with Tomura killing his family or something. But then we see just, you know, like I said, All For One coming to rescue him, and it's just like more, it's like more panels to extend this flashback, essentially. So we're still not seeing All For One's face. Some people have alluded this to possibly meaning that it's because he is, in fact, Izuku's father, so that's why we're not fully seeing his face. I hope that's not the case, although that we do kind of see his full face in that that flashback chapter, the All Might Rising. It's also in the OVA, the animated OVA that we get. We don't completely see his face, but we more or less see like what's going on with his face. I mean, he just looks like a regular dude, but I assume that they're holding it off because of, you know, some other important reason. But in this panel, we're seeing All For One like hugging Tomura, like it's like a father-son embrace almost, and Tomura's crying. So this is probably letting us in like on the moment where Tomura just went fully to the dark side, pretty much. But I really do hope that we find out in this sequence why, you know, this all happened. You know, what is Tomura's past? Because we have to remember that when he dropped that hand that he wears on his face, he's like, "Father." I think this was after Bakugo like knocked it off of his face after they captured Bakugo in the hideout raid arc. No, I'm sorry, the right before All Might fought All For One, like that whole little portion of the series. So we're kind of figuring out that like that's probably like literally his father's hand on his face, and it's been like tempered so that he can just wear them for some reason for aesthetic. We don't really know why he is wearing the hands yet. We can just assume it's just for a costume, but maybe there's some more to it. You know, maybe that will be revealed. But also, we're probably going to find out why there's all those other hands that he has, and it's likely because they belong to his family members, probably, which is kind of morbid, but it's very fitting for the villains and whatnot in this series. So aside from this flashback, we're seeing like a side panel of Yujiko's eye, and he has some dialogue coming out. So this is what leads me to believe that it's likely just going to be Yujiko talking to Tomura about his past and letting him know, like, hey, you remember when All For One picked you up, and then all this other stuff happened. So, I mean, just based off of that, it looks like it's happening. But next to Yujiko, we see, like, it appears to be a flashback panel of Gigantomachia. So we might even be getting, like, an origin to, a full origin, should I say, to Gigantomachia. Like, when All For One picked him up, or how things went down with him, possibly. Like, it's only just one panel, and we see him, like, hulking out, kind of. Like yelling, if that makes sense, but not a lot of text to go with that panel. So that's pretty much all we're seeing, and we see like Tomura like smiling or something. It appears he's smiling in response to something that possibly the doctor said. So other than that, it looks like we're just still continuing with the villains so far, which, hey, please keep going. You know, I love the villains. I love the League of Villains. I think they're awesome, and I think this arc is only making them so much better. So, hey, as long as Horikoshi can keep going with the villains here, please do. I mean, if you make this whole arc villains, I don't really think anyone's gonna be upset with that. I'm on board. I think it would be very unique, and it would be awesome, and it would just make things all the better, just in my opinion. But I doubt we'll get that. I think that this stuff is going to wrap up maybe after this chapter, if not the next one. I really don't see it going the entire arc, but, you know, like I said, I would be on board for it. So that's pretty much it for the spoilers. I mean, unfortunately, we're not really getting too many, but, you know, something is better than nothing, I suppose. So let me know what you think about all this stuff in the comments. What do you think Tomura's origin story is? And if you liked the video, please give it a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. I also have a Patreon. It gives you access to a Discord and a Q&A video that I do on this channel every week. Have a great day, guys. See you in the next one.